Smart Fortwo 451. Today we're going to be replacing all 3 engine mounts. Just get the parts out of the way. The one that's going to be going right here next to the air box, it bolts in like that. It's going to be part number Alpha 132-220-0148. It is a OE part, OEM, so original equipment manufacturer, or OEM. Is the same thing as an original part, but as you can see, the Smart logo was ground off. It was ground off right there as well. It's literally the exact same part as going to Mercedes, but like 1/5 of the cost. Here is the center torque mount. Let's get that part number. Get that part number for you. The center torque mount is A451-240-0109. And the passenger side engine mount is going to be part number Alpha 132-220-0048. That's what they all look like. First thing we're going to do is the torque mount underneath. So in order to pull off the torque mount here, you're going to need an E18, which is a reverse Torx, like that. I am looking from the driver's side towards the passenger side. You can see the 2 bolts right here, E18. You're going to undo these 2 and just put the new torque mount in there. As you can see, I got the 2 bolts loosened. This back one is also going to have a nut that just falls out towards the back. And the front one right here, the rear one technically, this one just threads into a solid, like a solid nut that's welded to everything. So for this guy, see, it's very safe. You don't need to have the engine supported because you can move the engine and transmission on the other 2 mounts, and it just loosens it right here. So you basically want to pull the bolts out, pull out your torque mount, and get the new one. So my old one seems to be in okay condition compared to the new one, but because the vehicle is approaching 10 years old, I'm gonna go ahead and just replace it. But yeah, just put it back in and torque it. And there you go. As you can see, we got the new torque mount in place. Everything's good to go here. Now let's move up and do the engine mounts. Now that the first mount is done, we're going to be doing the second mount, which is the passenger side one right here. So one of the things you're going to do is you're going to remove some of these fuel line tabs here, so you can get access to these 2 bolts right there. See if I can focus that one, and the other one is down here. They are both going to be an American size 5/8. This is I believe this is one of the emissions purge valves. You can get it from the top by moving it out of the way. And then you got that one, and these 3 bolts. Those 3 are going to be E16, which is also the reverse Torx. Before you undo that, you want to support the engine just lightly underneath so it doesn't go down or fall down, because this does support the motor. So let's go ahead and remove all this and replace the mount. So as you can see, I was able to get the 2 bolts out, and also pulls this little bracket out right here that holds the purge valve. And then I got the 3 bolts out. 2 of them look normal, but in my case, one of them pulled out some of the aluminum from the block. This inner bolt right here, the one I'm touching right here, that guy, it was just seized in there. It did not want to come out. And no matter what I tried, I had to force it out. As you can see, there's a little bit of thread damage. So it looks like when they put it in from the factory, they cross-threaded it from the factory. And yeah, fun times. Now I gotta fix their mistake. Anyways, I'm gonna fix that issue off camera. I'm gonna put all this back on, put the new mount in, and go from there. But as of right now, here's the old mount. It's still in okay condition. It is cracked. And the rubber, even though if it's not cracked or broken, what happens is rubber dries over time, becomes stiffer, and it does not have the same vibration dampening qualities as a new mount does. But yeah, let's get this new one in and go from there. There, as you can see, the 2 bolts, the new engine mounts in there. And I was able to figure this all out, get it all cleaned up, get the bolt back through. So once you torque these bolts down, I'll have the spec here on screen. You torque these 3 down. Don't forget to put your fuel line back in. It's a low pressure fuel line that goes to your fuel rail, and reconnect your purge valve for the emission system. Put all this back on. Everything's done. Cool. Now we got the torque mount, we got the passenger side mount, and now the last one is going to be the driver's side mount, which goes like so. You might be wondering what this is for. This is where you drop your clip, and as you can see, it drops into this area right here. So because in the prior video I removed the air box, so if you're curious how to do that, I'll link that video in the description. But if you don't remove the air box, you could technically kind of move it out of the way and whatnot. For me, I'm just gonna disconnect these two flatheads and just pull it out of the way a little bit so I can get to the mount, and I'll meet you there. As you can see, I simply loosen the two flatheads, and that gives me access to everything, whether I need to replace motors or anything. Something else I just realized, this bracket right here, I'm actually going to remove and dispose of, because this bracket just simply had the nub to where the airbox would click into. It has no structural benefit, so I'm actually going to remove this bracket during this process and not put it back. But over here, you have the two bolts right there, 1 and 2. You can't get to those two down there until you remove the airbox, so we're going to disconnect this, remove it, and I'm going to have to remove those two T35s and get all of this out. So let's go ahead and get the airbox next. And there it is. There's your airbox. The clamp that goes around it right there. So you're just going to basically pull on it, wiggle it a little bit, pull it out. Airbox is out of the way, and now we have complete clear access to the remaining bolts. So for these last two, we're gonna have to use E18, which is the same that we used on the torque mount. And it's gonna undo these two bolts. Don't forget to support the engine underneath. And over here, we have the same 5/8 as we had on the passenger side bolts down there. So it's gonna be the 5/8 and then two E18s. And then this guy right here is gonna be the exact same T30 that you actually used to remove these two bolts. And that's going to be it. And I'm also going to be removing that other E30 down there. T30 down there to get this useless bracket kind of out of the way. But that's it. Let's get these pulled out and replace them out. As you can see here now, we got the last bolts undone. We've got the two 5/8. We got this bracket pulled out, and this should just pop right out. And it does not want to. Ooh, there we go. There's a third hidden one right there. Let's get that last one. So there's a third one in there. Bam. And there's the driver's side original mount. As you can see, the part number is right there, 132-220-0148, 132-220-0148. It's the exact same part, also made by Smart. But what I'm going to do, that looks like there's a tiny bit of cross threading from the factory. Good job, Mercedes. You guys suck. This one is fine. That one had some cross threading. So did that one. Look at this. That sucks. I'm gonna clean this out. I'm gonna clean all that out and get this new mount installed. And there we go. Our third mount is also in. So at this point, we're pretty much done. I'm just gonna put the airbox back in there, the bottom piece first. Don't forget to slide it into here before you put it in. Might be a good idea just to give it a wipe if you want. Put a little bit of silicone spray right along the edge so it'll slide in easier, and just pop the airbox back in. But here is what I was talking about when I said there'd be a lot more room to work. It's much simpler to work on the entire driver's half of the engine bay now. Very simple, 10 seconds to pull the intake out, another 1 minute to pull the airbox out, and that's how much room you have. But let me put the rest of it back together and show you what it looks like. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, and underneath 3 brand new mounts. Here's the 3 old ones. Here's that useless bracket that I am personally no longer using because I have this silicone intake versus the factory airbox. But yeah, that's what it looks like. With filming, this took me maybe 45 minutes. If I wasn't filming and trying to do things and explain stuff, it'd take me maybe 20-25 minutes for everything. And as you saw, I didn't use a lift. It's not that hard to do this at your own garage. You just need some simple car ramps. But the next video, let me show you something. I'm sure all of you, just like me, have been rear-ended by someone, and then this happens. See this? So I was rear-ended. The person that rear-ended me hit me in this general area. It pushed me forward to the vehicle in front of me, caused more damage up there. It pushed me into the trailer hitch of another vehicle. But the reason I'm explaining this is your bumper does this after you've been rear-ended. And there is a very simple solution. These are the two brackets that support your rear bumper. I believe they go like this. You have one for the passenger side, one for the driver's side. I'm not sure which part number is for which side, but I have both. Here's one of the part numbers. Here is the other part number. And basically, I'm going to be taking off this entire rear portion, and we are going to be replacing those brackets so it no longer does this. And that way, if you have the same problem I have, you will no longer have this when driving around. But yeah, that's the next video. And I also ordered another surprise part for the aircon system. Basically what happens with the aircon problem is when you turn on the recycled air, you'll hear a bunch of clicking, click, 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 coming from the blend door. And I have the blend door coming in, and that's also going to be a future video. But as far as the current video and the future video, I hope you learned something today, and have a nice day.